Is to orient agriculture to these dynamics so that the people would be able to get what they want at the affordable pricing. So these challenges at least we are in a crossroads to see how we will be able to provide the requirement for the dynamic population. And India is endowed with a larger share of youth population. So the consumption would be more and nutrient consumption should be more so that they continue to stay healthy and become more productive over a period of time. Okay, so nowadays we have seen some information like India becoming a market for diabetics, or other ailments, and our health sector is also growing in terms of technology, infrastructure, availability, health insurance market, mediclaims are also growing. Providing nutritive food with safety, quality issues adequately addressed will minimize the expenditure towards health ailments. So that is where we have to focus on agriculture, and that is where we have to focus on infrastructure that is required for agricultural-led rural development. I thought this topic would be fitting into this, providing urban amenities to rural areas. So providing urban amenities mainly focus on infrastructure, and we need to look at infrastructure for agricultural-led rural development. So that way, we will be addressing one of the important issues of the country in terms of providing nutritive food. Second, it is one of the major economy still, even though the share in the total GDP has come down from agriculture, the labor dependent on agriculture is enormously high. And so that is why if agriculture fails, now people in the rural areas mostly would not have enough money to buy industrial goods and services. So agriculture in that dimension continues to be a very important trigger in the economy. So that is what I hear someone saying that I'm not audible. Please check. I have kept it in full volume. So I will continue. And when we are looking at infrastructure for agriculture, I would just like to highlight some areas. We look at the requirements for infrastructure-led what are the requirements for infrastructure? Then we would move stepwise. So I'm looking at the requirements for infrastructure from many dimensions in agriculture. We will start from production. So mechanization, technology transfer, energy pumps. Some indications I have given here, logistics and transport, some of them. The point is we need to understand the farm size. Over a period of time, we are emphasizing that ours is mostly marginal and small farms. And so our requirements must suit these farms. And there is also a considerable segment of large farms who will be able to invest in these kind of infrastructure. So the challenge here is requirements to suit the small and marginal farmers. That is where we have to look at mechanization. Otherwise, we have more number of tractors. I wouldn't say they are considerably adequate when on a 1,000-hectare basis. The number of tractors that we have is considerably low. Our mechanization per 1,000 hectares is considerably low and compared to what is there in agriculturally developed countries. So we need to have develop equipments and machineries that meet our requirements. The second thing, women labor do most of the management activities. So we are looking at equipments, small machineries, which would reduce their drudgery in the farm. So that also is an important aspect, but we haven't seen any tremendous improvement in these kinds of gadgets that would reduce their drudgery and make them more productive. That's why they're on labor, and people generally expect them to continue to work continuously as a kind of intellectual labor sitting in offices. Physically, beyond certain age, you may not be able to work, and that's why they also tend to become less productive. So, with some supporting machineries and equipments and gadgets, they would be able to perform better, and their productivity also would increase, and their health and other aspects also would be taken care of. So the role here is how do we make these equipments available in those areas? So that is where this infrastructure part comes. Industrial units have to be set up to manufacture these machineries in large numbers, and then they would be able to increase productivity. And then we are looking at renewable energy as an important aspect in rural areas. When I point out this energy pump sets, I'm looking at solar energy driven pump sets, which are gaining momentum, but the affordability is an issue. Only large, even though there are some subsidy schemes, it is not largely taken up by the small and marginal farmers. And in agriculture, there's a kind of, I would say, a significant aspect taking place now, like the farmer producer companies or organizations. That is being promoted by the center and the state governments. And that is one way of aggregation, which is essential because an individual farmer, small or marginal, over a period of time is not able to afford too much of these machines or things like that. Access to market and inputs, purchasing power is low. So the farmer producer companies are being promoted. So 1,000 farmers are joined together to form a company, the Companies Act, and this unit is managed by a professional CEO with directors from among the farmers and things like that. So this helps in aggregation. So when there's aggregation, the first thing that FPO does is they have their own input shop that buys from in bulk whatever is required from the companies and sell directly to their members. They could reduce cost, they can increase the relevance of inputs required, because a lot of private companies are coming and they are promoting, and the retailers tend to promote them because of the margin that they get. So whenever like a farmer, he still looks at these retailers for their support for these inputs, and the retailer has his choice to make a recommendation, and ultimately it is not beneficial, all beneficial to the farmers. They apply more inputs than required and things like that. So these FPOs can run custom hiring centers for machineries. So only thing, if we have machineries, make them available, so they will be able to run. So through these FPOs, the demand could be addressed, because an individual farmer will not be able to buy. But the FPOs can buy, they can invest, bank can support them. So we need to develop machineries and equipments which would be purchased by the FPOs and provided on hiring basis, or some program to the member farmers for them to use. So so we can look at energy, solar energy driven pump sets, and so this is for production part alone. The other important issue is we need to have infrastructure for technology transfer. Now, a lot of technologies are driven through ICT mode, information and communication technology. That is what I'm interested in here. And for kiosks, which are, we have connectivity issues. We have kiosks there, but it's not functioning well. Like they don't have the importance as that of an ATM. Okay, not regularly maintained. So if it is available, then in regional languages, the farmer, even if he does not have a good mobile, he can go there and access a lot of information from the kiosk, and he would be able to adopt technologies. Okay, so that kind of facility has to be created in greater numbers. Then logistics, we need to have infrastructure for storage and transportation. Okay, because the government is spending more on rural godowns, and they are being constructed, but it is not mostly serving the farmers. So what kind of storage bins can we provide and design and provide for the farmers to store at their own farms? Okay, so that would be more useful. So we have to innovate. The higher education institution should innovate and come out with.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Sir, actually, your presentation, the initial slide is only visible, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I just checked that.
Share the screen, sir.
Okay. I will share it once again. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. The screen is visible. Can you just scroll down to the next slide, sir, so that we can confirm that whether we are able to see the other slide or not?
Yeah, this is the first one.
So,
this is the second one.
So the second slide is actually not visible, so.
Not visible. Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
I'll just do it once again.
Yes, sir. Now it's scrolling down.
Oh, sorry. Actually, it's started.
Stop the sharing, sir.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Yeah. Is it changing?
No, sir.
No?
It's still on the second slide.
Is it changing now?
Yes, sir. It's changing now, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah, logistics and transport is very important because if the farmers don't have storage and they are forced to sell in the market and they are not able to transport their major produce to the market. So storage structures are required. So under UBA, if we can design some storage structures, revalidate some old storage bins, traditional bins that have been there. I think it would be very useful. The next one is transportation. Of course, we need to have roads connectivity that is more important. We see a lot of roads happening in national highways, but how much, when I look at a national level, how well are they connected to the rural areas for transportation of produce? We see when they, especially during the monsoons, the roads get affected and then transportation becomes a problem. And you see what kind of havoc it creates in the prices in the urban markets. So how do we have a better transportation facility or road infrastructure so that even during such vagaries of monsoon or other kinds of issues, we are able to transport them without much of a problem. So that these are issues that need to be addressed. We have different size of vehicles, but do we have good roads and connectivity to transport them? These are some of the issues that we have. Then we can look at processing so I assume the production issue is taken care of there with the infrastructure requirements. So processing is another important aspect that has to happen in rural areas to generate employment, increase demand for the products, and also generate income for the farmer, because the government is now focusing on doubling the production and trebling the farmers' income. Selling raw agricultural produce will not generate more income for the farmers. As you see, there is always a cap on that because the consumer is not able to afford beyond certain levels. So his affordability comes into question. So as raw produce, you can get only certain amount of price increase. And the other thing is that technology, if you adopt more improved technology, your productivity increases. There's a glut in the market and the price falls generally. So producing higher does not actually result in getting better prices for the farmer. So it again does not adequately contribute to income generation. So unless you have value addition at the rural level and mostly done by the farmers, it would be very difficult for them to generate more income. Okay, so this is where this Arvin kind of Arvin sugar factories are all examples of how it can be done. But here, since the farmer producer companies are there, the farmer producer companies can add value, and then they would be able to connect to the markets and sell directly or through some intermediary. So they would be able to generate more. Only thing is that we need to have these primary processing centers for cleaning, grading, washing, sorting. Can we use solar energy, renewable energy for these kinds of activities? Uh, so our job here is UBS. How do we develop such machineries through higher education institutions? Um, so this can add value. Primary processing itself can add value for the raw produce. Okay, they would get a better price in the urban market or even consumer market if they're sorted, and they can be sold to different customer segments or client segments, so that they would be able to generate more revenue also. Okay, so then we are looking at secondary processing, new products and nutrient based increase in shelf life. What is important is how do we make it affordable for the consumer. Okay, so a lot of products are being made. Okay, so first thing is that a lot of preservatives are being used to extend shelf life and things like that. So with the minimum damage, more concern to food safety and nutrient, what kind of technologies can we develop? What kind of packing technologies we can develop so that we can increase the shelf life, retain the nutrient content of the product, develop new products, and make it more palatable for the consumers. So not only food products, but also non-food products, value addition can happen. Medicine plants is another area where we have traditional strength and it has not been fully exploited. So what kind of processing facilities can we develop in the rural areas so that they are processed there and then they are transported to the consumer markets? Okay, so this is there, and tertiary processing also requires to be done, because a lot of urban markets, they are preferring ready to cook or ready to eat kind of products. So how can we make them produced in the rural areas and then take it to the urban markets or other consumer markets? So one thing is required is the machineries of the size that can be done. There are very large MNCs or many firms that they take up on a large scale, but how can the farmer producer companies do by aggregating the produce of the members, and then they can process and they will be able to sell? So one part is the technology. The second part is the implementation. That is where we require a lot of managerial skills and connectivity networking for putting in place the supply chain management or the value chain management practices that are relevant for agriculture. We have lots for industrial sector, but how do we develop these issues for the agricultural sector, and how do we attract farmers to shy away from their traditional practices and adopt new methods of production value addition by adopting this supply chain or value chain management practices? Okay, so when we talk about export, traceability is an important issue. Okay, so when you need to have traceability, we need to have infrastructure. Supposing blockchain technology application in agriculture is under research, and models will be developed shortly. So once they are in place, we need to have connectivity, networking, so that the data processing can be done from the farm level, which is a rural area. And then the data can be fed into the system so that the products could be traceable even in export markets. So we need to have infrastructure, agriculture-oriented infrastructure in place in rural areas for processing, value addition, traceability, and all those issues. Okay. And we have requirements for wealth from waste. So these are all manufacturing requirements, infrastructure that are required in rural areas, so that the waste is also effectively utilized. Stubble burning is a very important issue that is going on. How do we use this stubble and generate new products out of it and convert them into manure or plow them in situ? Okay, so we need to have infrastructure for handling such large volume of issues. Then developing artisans, which is one of the most important component of UBA. Like banana fiber is there, and lots of banana fiber is there. We have not fully exploited them. how can we make biodegradable products and packing materials out of it, and then it can be used by the urban markets. Okay, so what kind of infrastructure we need to have to effectively utilize the a large volume of banana fiber that we have, and we have the central pseudo stem also, from which a lot of products can be made. Okay? But we do not have so much industrial infrastructure to process these kinds of products, generate employment in rural areas, and add value for the farmer, okay, for income generation. Then coconut shell-based products, revival of traditional products to meet urban and export markets. So there are a lot of opportunities by reviving the traditional products. What we need to do is standardization of the process, mass production, and also ensure quality for the produce. So when I mean standardization, we are looking at standardization for bulk production, and also standardization of grades in terms of quality, so that uniformly it is made available to the consumer markets, and they are able to get benefited out of it. Okay. So we need to create infrastructure, technology, managerial infrastructure in the rural areas to effectively utilize these kinds of volumes. And in India, we have a lot of crops grown in different areas depending on the agroclimatic conditions. Okay, so that is an asset to the country. So this variation requires different varieties of machineries and infrastructure for value addition in different regions. So we need to identify what is required in the region, and then develop machineries that are required for the region so that they can process. Marketing is an important aspect, because the farmer is deprived of information today. What's happening in the urban market? What is the price prevailing in the urban market? What kind of market intelligence, like what will be the price in next 6 months in the urban market or in the export markets? So one is database management of collection of data on area, production, prices in different markets for different crops across India and in foreign countries. Then analyzing that and developing some advisories for the farmers, and also enabling market access. Now, digital platforms are there. As I told you, as an individual farmer may not be able to transact on digital markets. So farmer producer companies can do that on the behalf of the members, create brands, and then they could be able to do. So what kind of infrastructure do we have to create online market access, generate more transparency in information, and enable farmers to effectively bargain in the market and then get a proper price for their products? Nowadays, the price spread is more like, when you say price spread, the price difference between what the consumer pays for the product in the urban market or consuming market and the price that is actually received by the farmer. Okay, so assumption is that there are a lot of intermediaries and processes happening in between the farmer to the consumer, and as a result, a lot of value addition also happens and price also increases. But the bulk of this is going to the intermediaries and the people involved in logistics, and it is not being transferred to the farmer. So how best can we transfer this additional benefits to the farmers is very important, and how UBA can help by developing infrastructure in rural areas, infrastructure that can be used by the farmer and farmer producer companies is important. Okay. Now, the second part of my lecture is to how to provide this infrastructure. Innovation is very much important, because as I told you, we need to meet the requirements of Indian farming conditions, farmers' requirements. So innovation is very important. A lot of options in innovation, especially product processing into different forms, packaging, transportation, market access, digital connectivity. Okay, so all these things require innovation to make it available and also affordable by the farmer to use them and then make money out of it. So we can conduct ideathon, hackathon to solve issues and then convert them into projects under UBA, and then we can look at funding, and then we can take it up on a large scale. Existing, I know a lot of engineering colleges take up projects every year, so they can address specific issues in agriculture, and then they can come out with some solutions which will be useful to the farmers, and the market will be growing because food is not going to stop. And non-food products are also from agriculture base is also not going to stop, because we are looking at natural dye is another important aspect. We're all trying to switch towards natural based products so that it can minimize the ill effects of synthetic products. So how to effectively utilize the raw material available and create value out of it is more important. So there we need to have innovations. Okay, so medicinal plants, natural dyes, waste, wealth from waste. All these things are available, but they're not being effectively utilized. So renewable energy. Okay, so it addresses all the theme areas of UBA. Nowadays we are looking at organic agriculture, and they say that it is not remunerative to the farmer. Okay, so that is because of the that means there is shortages in the technology, hassles in implementation. As a result, the farmer is not able to get. It is not that per se the concept organic farming is ineffective. Okay, so we need to develop technologies, bio inputs that could increase productivity in organic agriculture, and also certification process, which is very important, so that the farmer would be able to sell with the labeling. So traceability becomes very important when you want to certify in agriculture. A lot of data has to be entered into the system, and so digital mode of certification process is very much in a very infant stage in India. So that is why that organic agriculture, credible organic agriculture is not picking up to a greater extent. So we need to have infrastructure for those kinds of activities. Transfer of technologies, the methodologies are changing nowadays. I told you, ICT is an important tool. So how do we effectively utilize them? By creating necessary infrastructure in rural areas. So all these things have to be a continuous task. Like innovations have to keep on happening, improvements have to keep on happening, so that we are able to deliver to the farmers. The village survey and household survey will provide you a lot of information in understanding what is required in the village. So once we have that, then by linking state agricultural universities or ICAR institutions, if you work with them, then you can come out with some innovative products. And then by linking them to projects, some of them are already, like solar energy pump sets are already provided by the government, but it is not reaching all the farmers, or it's not meeting the entire requirement. So how under UBA and other through other source of funding can we create this infrastructure? Mobile artificial application of artificial intelligence and robotics is also picking up in agriculturally developed nations, but in India we have not used that to a great extent, like sensors for assessing the climate change, changes in temperature, soil temperature, nutrient content, and irrigation or other manual activities based on this data. This is called precision farming. So we apply only what is required, and as a result, we avoid residual toxicity issues in agriculture. Okay, so when we have to implement them, we have to have infrastructure in the rural areas. So how do we develop products and all those things? So that is important. And then, so role of UBA is very important. PIs. Okay, so we have to go for need assessment, which is a very important aspect. We can be done through the village survey and the household survey. We can identify what is required for the specific region. Then we need to identify the problem. Then we can identify the solution in the form of technology by linking to institutions, as I mentioned earlier. Then networking with government and research institutions for developing the solution, projects, getting funding, and then comes implementation and the follow-up and expansion. So a lot of lacuna is still there in infrastructure for agricultural led rural development. What we are witnessing is far much less, especially in terms of value addition. And value addition, most of it is happening outside the rural areas, which is not benefiting the farmers also. So now we also have the farmer producer companies which are growing and promoted by the government, which can take up value addition in the rural areas and also transfer the benefits to the farmers through proper pricing mechanism. Only one thing we need to have is that create infrastructure in the rural areas so that all these things can happen in the rural areas with regard to production, organic production or eco-friendly production to reduce residual toxicity, make the food products or non-food products more safe for utilization in terms of quality and food safety. And also make more value-added products in rural areas, which can be used for urban market and also the export markets. Okay, so in this process, we will be able to generate more value-added employment for the laborers in rural areas. Even now, agriculture, though it requires skill for implementing many operations manually, also it is generally considered as any man's entry. You know, anyone who wants to take up a job, they simply get into farming and they gain by practice slowly. They are able to do some physical work. But when you develop some machineries or gadgets or equipments, we can train them and it becomes a skilled work, and he would be able to generate more employment through the skilled opportunity than being an unskilled labor. Okay, so in so many ways, the higher education institutions can contribute to agricultural development through infrastructure development. Okay. So with this, I briefly conclude my ideas which I wanted to share to the participating institutions, students, and it is open. If there are any queries, I would be able to take it up and we can do. In my opinion, the higher education only agriculture is not necessarily agriculture institutions alone need to focus on agricultural issues. So other institutions can play a very vital role in future in infrastructure for agriculture-led rural development. Once again, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. So if there are any queries, I would like to answer.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for a great insightful talk. It really inspired all of us based on agro. It was really an interesting session, sir. So participants, if you have any queries, you raise up the question, write up the question in the chat box, or else you can raise your hands. We will unmute you. You can ask the question directly to the speaker. Thanks so much, Dr. S.D. Shivakumar, sir. We will find any questions in the chat box. You really inspired the young minds who are sitting just behind me. They really were much inspired about the ideas and ideologies which you presented and quoted here. It was really an interesting feed which we have learned from this session. So thanks so much for your time and thanks for such a great, excellent session. So thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So now we are getting into session 4. We have another one amazing personality amongst us who is having really great background. I can say you will really enjoy the upcoming speakers talk. Okay, so we have our ex-Panchayat president of Kukulpatam village. She is a native of Kukulpatam village, born in this village and got educated in the village school. The village Kukulpatam is only 35 kilometers away from Chennai on the Chennai-Bangalore National Highway, but the proximity of the city has not helped villages to grow. The village was kept poor for generations. At the age of 1, he was able to watch Manassas due to elite attack in his village, particularly turned man to the zoo. Life was pretty quiet, speaking violent in clashes any time. This created spark in India's mind, and it had grown as big thoughts to find solutions for this. This was very much fueled when he became a chemical engineer and became a substantial money owner. He started using the money for people in the village community and formed trust by both groups, women groups, farmer groups to organize them to get involved. More and more involvement in this created pressure for him to even resign the job, and he got involved fully in the village development process. He resigned the job in 1994, came back to the village and started staying in the village. With his experience in research and management, he planned many programs and started implementing those with the support of government agencies and national life plans. This period between 1994 to 1996 opened way for him to become a recognized social worker in his own village. In 1996, when the Panchayat elections under the new Panchayat Raj Act was conducted, he was elected as the president of the Gulbarga village Panchayat. In the beginning itself, he prepared a 5-year plan encompassing total development. The people, Gram Sabha, and governments were leading partner in this process. In 5 years' time, from 1996 to 2001, various innovative developments were undertaken and the village had reached excellence phase 4. He was re-elected in 2001 and he led the Panchayat for further level of development. Elanco formed a trust called Trust for Villages Self-Governance, TVSG in 2001 to mobilize further support to the Panchayat and to the people. The activity is further galvanized and he is in the process of recording various panchayats in Tamil Nadu and also in other parts of India. This program is growing as Panchayat Academy. Now from 2007 onwards, he is working for various panchayats in Tamil Nadu. He is concentrating in establishing village-based economic model. He has been invited by countries like USA, UK, Germany, Italy, Austria, Cuba, Taiwan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan to share his grassroots experiences. He is actively working with the youth of India for the future of India. Through the Panchayat Academy, more than 600 panchayats are now involved in Tamil Nadu, and more number of model villages are emerging. He has been awarded Man of the Year in 2013 by the Week magazine. At present, he is heading sanitation program to provide dignified toilets to the village families. He is also running a rural technology research center and developing appropriate technology solutions for the villages. Sounds amazing, right? So now, with a huge round of applause, let's invite the man of people, Mr. William, to present on the topic, bringing new models for increasing growth on kilometers. Over to you, sir.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Your voice is actually not audible, sir. Sir? Your voice is actually not audible, sir. I can't hear you. Sir, you're not audible, sir. Excuse me, sir. Actually, you're not audible, sir. Can you just rejoin once again, sir, so that your audio will be clear? Can you just leave the meet once and join back again, sir, immediately? Sorry for the inconvenience, devotees. We'll resume it shortly. So meanwhile, let me give you a brief introduction about UDA Sairam. We UDA Sairam is a team of more than 300 plus students. We are working for sir, you're now being muted, so you can just unmute and so can you just unmute yourself, sir? Sir, can you just increase the volume of your system, sir?
இதுலயா இல்ல ரெண்டு ஏதோ ஒண்ணுதான் வரும்
Just mute the other device, sir.
இப்ப இதுல yeah now is it audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible now, sir.
I think my phone itself in my phone I will talk, okay?
Yeah, sure, sir. Please, sir.
It's okay then okay. Sorry, I'm a little away from the place. Yeah, it was. I'm so happy that as I was telling, but for demonstrating a model, but for demonstrating a sustainable development model or a total development model, I quit my job and I was very particular to become a panchayat leader, because interestingly, the 73rd amendment, constitutional amendment, very famous constitutional amendment, all of us, the students and the professors or whomever listening, anyone who wants to do a village development, this has been the talk for more than 75 years. Right from we have taken over our own government, many people they talk about village development, the total development of the villages. Gandhi, it started from Gandhi, and till now people are talking. And interestingly, the Pura providing urban amenities to rural areas, thanks to Professor Indiresan, again Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, all the people they were talking, and they even put some models. But the interesting point to be noted is, yes, people from outside, maybe a top man, maybe a prime minister, maybe a minister, maybe a professor, maybe the president of India, like that, we aspire to do something for the villages. We aspire to develop a village. But how much the village people are aspiring? How much the village people are understanding? How much the village people are coming forward? How much the village people are dreaming? How much is it required for the villages? This kind of questions are there. So when Rajiv Gandhi came to power, he himself came forward for, it was a very famous constitutional amendment. He tried to amend the constitution, 62nd constitutional amendment, to give the power to people. It is in his period, actually after Mahatma Gandhi, it was Rajiv Gandhi who thought very deep about making a changes in the villages. For that, he has put the research team. Actually, research team, they found if 100 rupees planned in the parliament, by the time it reaches the community, it became 19 rupees. Only 19% of the planned fund or planned scheme, anything from the government of India or the top, by the time it reaches the ground, it became 19 rupees. How to stop it? It was not merely due to corruption or anything. That the tumbling blocks, the way it travels from here, there, and by the time it reaches the community, it became 19%. So he wanted to reduce it. That's why he was planning for parliament to panchayat. Panchayat is a government at the local level, and parliament is the government at the top level. The interesting part is the panchayat is the government closer to the community, whereas parliament, though it is elected by the community, it is formed by the community. Once it is formed, it is very difficult to for the community to approach it again. It will approach, it can approach, but whereas in the case of panchayats, it is closer to the government. It is, that's why we used to call it is we elect, you govern. It is for the parliament. It is for the state assembly. Whereas in the case of panchayats, we elect, we govern. We elect a panchayat leader. We elect a panchayat. There are 9 ward members or 12 ward members. There are the mayors or the chairman of the municipality. They are elected by the community. The community can anytime walk into the panchayat, walk into the municipality. The community can anytime approach the leader. They can talk. That's why the panchayat is the closest government to the people. So the panchayat should have enough power, enough capacity in such a way to function as a local self-government. It is a government. In the case of state government, it's a government. In the case of the central government, is a government. It is not a self-government. Whereas in the case of panchayat, constitutionally, it is declared as a local self-government, because it can be run by the community. It can be funded by the community. The community's hands can be incorporated in the every works of the community, every works of the panchayat. The transparency, the people want, they can every day they go on and they can inspect the work. Every day they can go, they can involve in the planning. Every day they can go, they can validate the planning. Every day they can go, they can stop it if it is violative, if it is not required for the community. So that's why the very real meaning of democracy, we vote, we participate, we govern. That's why the participatory governance is the panchayat. Such a beautiful system, which was brought in to the country in 1992 by the famous 73rd Amendment. Those days itself, the day when it was introduced, it was succeeded in the parliament. That day itself, it was accepted by the West Bengal government. It was adopted by the then Kerala government. It was adopted by the Karnataka government. But the then Tamil Nadu government, it was not bothering. Somehow, lot of pressure was given. At last, in 1994, October 25, the state government adopted the Panchayat Acts. So then it was not conducting the panchayat elections. At last in 1996, October, the panchayat election were conducted. And that came, I was as a wanderer, I was a aspirer for the big development in my village. I thought it's a beautiful system of governance. With people, we can participate. With people, we can plan. With people, we can do. And that with that aspiration, and it became inevitable for me. I had to quit the job. And interestingly, the students, people like you are all watching. Here, the real strength is the education, my engineering education, that too. Again, my experience as a troubleshooter in the scientist. I am an expert in high energy batteries for submarines and warplanes like that. But whatever experience I gained while operating the DC system, while operating the smallest motor, while operating a smallest air conditioner, while bothering about saving of every milliampere or microampere, so while bothering about saving of 1 degree of hot water or 1 degree of chilled temperature, so the energy audits, all these things with that experience, I went back to my people. I became the panchayat leader. We prepared a nice plan, a 5-year plan. That's what you are talking about development, and it's again through APJ and through Indresan and all the development plan, like providing urban amenities for rural areas, Pura. So in my case, I sat with the community, I sat with my panchayat people, I sat with the experienced people. We prepared a nice plan. It's a 5-year plan encompassing all the total development model. So it is all the felt needs of the 50 years should be fulfilled within 5 years. Again, development means in the political thing, people think like a road is the development, or the building is the development, or a small bridge is a development. Apart from concrete, we used to call brick, mortar, and tar. The development is not only brick, mortar, and tar based development. Development is energy audit, audited mode of using energy. Development means green energy. This is on energy side. Development is a purified, good, guaranteed water supply. Yes, it's a development. Development means a good education, not only the good education which will lead you to BA, BSc, BE, or whatever. Beyond that, the education should inculcate the skill in you. The education should inculcate the confidence in you. Apart from discipline and all these things, once you are getting educated, maybe a school final, a boy who is passing 10th standard, a boy who is passing 12th standard, then in that stage, his confidence level should also increase. His wider perspective and his own life, future, and all these things should widen. So that kind of thing, education. Then women, the women, what is the position of the women in this country, particularly the rural women? So how to liberate them, how to empower them, how to inculcate skill in them. Then the farmers, whatever they know, they are doing. But they are in farming sector, farmers are poor. Farmers are day by day, they are losing interest in farming. And even the farmer's son or farmers, they are trying to push their children for higher education, and they are not interested to put the children in school. I mean, in a farming. So how to bring the confidence in them? How to increase the skill level in them, so that the agriculture becomes an interesting one, and the farmers should put interest and grow further. So this kind of thing. Then the caste, we all know that India's one of the curse on Indian community is the caste. For no reason, for some reason he born somewhere, some reason she born somewhere, and because of the birth, the caste is is sticking with you, and based on the caste and so many confusion, so many unwanted things are happening. Then it need not be possible all of a sudden that you can eradicate the caste, but the vehemence of the caste-based differences, the caste-based rivalries can be brought down. And you be a Brahmin in your home, you be a Naidu in your home, you be a something in your home, but while walking on the road, while working on in a working place, in a laboratory, in a field, in a tea shop, in a hotel, why can't we live together or work together as brothers and sisters? This kind of the reducing the vehemence of the caste, this kind of thing. So that's why in my case, I put a nice plan. It was encompassing all these components, whatever I talked. And when you made a plan, when you discussed that plan with the, actually, when you prepared a plan for 5 years, then it came for crores. Oh God, if you want to fulfill all the needs of the village, naturally you need this much of money. Where the money will come? Once the plan is ready, automatically then, oh, this much of money is needed. Where to get the money? Once the plan is ready, then you are able to come to a level, oh, then where to mobilize the resources? Then automatically, what are the schemes available in the government? Schemes available in the government may not be possible to fulfill all the things. Then after the government scheme, what are the other things? Can you go for a corporate to raise some money? Can you go to a donor to raise the money? Or then after that, after raising all these things, it is insufficient. Then how to fill it up? Then what the community can contribute? Community may be poor. The rich people in the village can contribute something. Then the poor can contribute labor at least. The other people can contribute their skill. That way, the 5 year plan can be bifurcated to every 1 year plan, the first year plan, the priorities on the first year plan. Do the first year plan. Then automatically people get the confidence. Oh, all along, nothing had happened. Now things are happening. Then second year, there will be a lot of support. Then third year, there will be a lot of support. The government, your activity, our activity, it became even a model for the government. Government also started learning from us. Then it started giving more money, it started giving more importance for us. Then from this, it started going to other villages also. Interestingly, then Samattuvapuram called in a same village, we made 100 families of different caste. Out of that, 50% of them were the so-called scheduled caste people. Then remaining 50% people from other communities, they were made to live together. In the history of India, this was the first time, same village, all the different communities, they were living together with majority so-called scheduled caste people. So the Chief Minister Karunanidhi adopted that as Samattuvapuram. He promoted more than 235 Samattuvapurams across Tamil Nadu. Like that, every 1 lakh of the panchayat, every 1 lakh the government, if this given to Kutumbakam of my people, then automatically the 1 lakh will become 2 lakh. Then community will put 1 lakh. Community need not put as a cash. Community can, those who are having a single chula, they can give brick. So some 30,000 rupees worth of locally made brick is given. And if the river sand is there or some other thing is there, people will contribute that. Some wood is there, people will contribute there. Somebody is having he has constructed houses, some remaining of rods are there. The people will contribute the rods. The poor people, they contribute labor. Instead of 100 rupee, they take 60 rupee, 40 rupees, their contribution every day. So like that, every 1 lakh rupee will become 2 lakh rupee. 1 crore rupee of the government will become 2 crore rupee by the community. Then it was called Namak Name, we for ourselves. That famous scheme, actually Karunanidhi adopted our models and he has promoted that as a massive scheme. In a 5-year time, year by year, we were doing a lot. And in the 3rd year, 4th year, and all our dreams planned, which was put in the plan, it started coming as truth. And then in 5 year time, our village became a real model village for the country. In the second term in 2001, I was re-elected with the majority, full support. And interestingly, this village became a model village. And then that time he was rural development minister, now the present vice president of India, the Venkaiah Naidu came there and stayed there for a day. The then deputy prime minister Advani came there and stayed there for a day. And lot of people, top people, Karunanidhi, the then chief minister, he came there and stayed and spent a lot of time there to understand the whole development model. So in 2001, then this village was really a roaring model for the country. Then automatically in my mind, yes, I was so happy this is happening. And the thirst was, when this is happening in my village, why not in other villages? Why this is not happening in the neighbor village? Why this is not happening in the other parts of the Tamil Nadu? So then I started traveling across Tamil Nadu, catch hold of the good panchayat leaders who are trying to do something like me. Then we federated a big team of panchayat leaders. We promoted a concept called Panchayat Academy. The Panchayat Academy was not the academy run by professors. This is a platform to share the good practices among the good panchayat leaders. So automatically, a lot of things people learned from me, and a lot of things people learned. People like us now, we learn from others. It became a cross-learning experience, and that Panchayat Academy was an excellent concept. And I was given a Ashoka Fellowship for an international fellowship for that. And when automatically, when I started working for more and more panchayats, the interesting part is, yes, people are getting federated, people are aspiring to do things, people are coming forward to adopt things. But what are the technologies? Interestingly, that's where the Sairam engineering people or engineering colleges can come forward. Here, there are technology. Even IITs, a lot of people, we are developing technology. We are all the engineers, particularly we are all technical innovators. Yes, the innovation should be done in such a way. Any layman, he may be a farmer, or he may be a small person in a village, or she may be a self-help group women in a village, or a tiny pot maker, or a weaver, or whatever, whomever. So they should understand the technology, and we should understand their problems. And this is called appropriation of technology. I call appropriated technology, appropriation of technology. One is developing technology, innovating technologies, and the innovated technologies should be appropriated in such a way anybody can understand. There is a demand. There are people, farmers are in need of something, but your technology should be appropriated in such a way a poor farmer can simply adopt it, simply understand this. Again, it should not be too much costlier to adopt it. With small money, with a small thing, then he can adopt and do this. So in that way, I have developed a program called Technology Resource Center, and to work with institutions, to work with CSIR laboratories, to work with IITs, to work with a variety of institutions, understanding the technology and appropriating the technologies according to the need of the community. That way, a lot of excellent appropriate technologies are demonstrated in my village. Now we call Rural Technology Resource Center. Already I told you, we have federated the panchayats, and we are running a program called Panchayat Academy. We call the panchayat leaders, aspiring panchayat leaders, to our place, and just cross-learning. While cross-learning itself, that's a very good motivation. Oh, you have done it, so they have done it, I will also do like. That kind of impression comes from the panchayat leaders. Then he brings his own youth, he brings his own women, he brings his own farmers. Then automatically farmers, youth, women and panchayat, they are joining together, and that village really rolling for development. For that, what is the technology available? Then the appropriated technologies. In my center, maybe in a month time, we are going to open that center for others, where about 45 different types of technologies, which is involving all the fields. It may be farming, it may be energy audit, it may be housing, it may be construction material, it may be like waste management, it may be weaving, it may be dyeing, all these things. So about 45 different types of technologies are adopted, appropriated, and demonstrated. So now this rural technology resource center, all these things, we are going to launch that as a program called Panchayat Academy. In Tamil, we call Panchayat Kalvi Nilayam. And in this Panchayat Academy, the institutions, the students, the professors, anyone can come. It's an open institution. It is not like we are going to claim, oh, see, this is the technology we have claimed, we have developed. No, it's a technology which is working there. Come there. Oh God, fantastic, Ilango sir. Good. You spread it. Or, oh God, I can improve it, sir. I can put a bearing here. I can put this so that vibration will not be there. Then put your effort and again streamline it or perfect it, that kind of thing. So that is also possible. And again, as I was talking, we talk a lot, but who bothers about it? If the panchayat leader talks, if the panchayat leader dreams, if the panchayat leader assumes, then automatically, then the whole thing is the local self-government. Every panchayat is a government. We must make every panchayat to dream this. So for that, we are trying to bring aspiring panchayat from every district, 5 or 6 in a month. Then they come here and they stay here for a week. So, sorry, 2 days, 3 days. Then automatically they understand the whole thing. And he takes, out of the 45, he takes 5 maybe suitable for his village. Then he will go there and he will start it. Like that, the whole country, whole state, what we are planning, and we are trying to catch up 200 panchayats in another 1 year time. The 200 panchayats will make them as working models of demonstrating sustainable, this kind of total development in their village. The 200, when they are vibrantly coming up, every panchayat around them, 4 or 5 panchayat around them will grow. That's also, we are trying to Tamil Nadu cluster panchayat development program, so that 200 will become 200 into 5,000. And we are targeting in 4 to 5 years time, 2,000 panchayats in about 200 clusters, and they grow as models. In that clusters, all these 45 technologies, or more than that, more than that, the technologies will work, which will encompass all the components of development, so that the value addition will be there, so that the energy auditing will be there. Ultimately, self-reliancy as much possible, not total self-reliancy, as much possible, the panchayats, the villages, the community can come to a stage of self-reliance as much possible. The self-reliant communities with the land, it is possible. Whereas in Chennai, in Madurai, or in Bangalore, it is not possible to establish a self-reliant community where you are generating only the money. Whereas in the case of villages, a lot of wealth is created. The milk is there, the soil is there, the vegetables are there, the fruits are there. Only thing is, fruit has to be converted as a jam or some kind of preservative. And vegetables are there, and you have to preserve it, you have to dry it. Milk is there, you have to make ghee out of it or anything out of it. The other flowers are there, then make value-added items, all these things. Oil seeds are there, get oil. So with all these things, there is a possibility of making self-reliant to the possible extent in villages. So cluster of self-reliant villages, and automatically they become a block of self-reliant block. They become a block of self-reliant district. Automatically self-reliant state, self-reliant India, to the possible extent, not total, to the possible extent. Whatever is not possible, then automatically the villages will be having the bargaining power to demand, because they are standing on their own. They are producing surplus. That surplus will be sold. That surplus will be given to cities. So because of that, that bargaining power of the village community will increase. For that, we are looking for models. Interestingly, in my village, this 25 years of experience, I have put a lot of effort, and I have made this village as a pilot and model. And then in Tamil we call Ullathil Nalla Ullam Urangadi, a good soul will never sleep. So on that basis, now this is possible in this village, why not in other villages? So that the Panchayat Academy program is coming. And interestingly, then we are not raising the collar. We are so humble. come, see this, and then add. It's an open thing, add or adopt. That kind of thing is there. And Gandhi is reflected because of his, Gandhi is again the commitment, is simple and this kind of thing. Then technology and so many things are demonstrated. Interestingly, there is a very good response from all over India, particularly in Tamil Nadu, also very good interest. And interestingly, the present government, after Stalin Anna taken over, the lot of hope is again nothing politics, no politics in that. But the chief minister is showing a lot of interest. The chief minister, officials attached with chief minister, officials attached with the government, they are also very keen in promoting this kind of things. The thing is needed hour is a role model, demonstrating model. From there, a lot of things could be done. So once it is proven that that is possible in 200 panchayats, 200 panchayats are doing, automatically there is a possibility of expanding this to 1,000. In 5 year time, imagine 2,000 panchayats out of 12,000 panchayats. 2,000 panchayats are coming means that will set a trend. That will be the critical movement, and things will roll. Maybe in 10 years time, a lot of good things can be demonstrated. And this is towards self-reliancy as much possible, towards self-reliancy as much possible. So encompassing variety of technologies, and the technology developers and the technology drivers like engineers, professors, engineering colleges, research institutions, we should go down, and or the people or the community, they should be empowered in such a way, they should come up, or a place where both of us should meet. So that's the need of the hour. And for that, of course, I'm able to get a chance to this 25 years of time. I'm putting all these efforts, and we are trying to establish a Panchayat Academy. And of course, I'm a well-connected person with all over country, all over the world, and I've got a good network. And with this, I'm stopping, and I'm so happy this program, this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. Yes, it was a good dream of the Prime Minister, but in true speaking, yes, it still it is there as a talk. But India is a good place, and Indian people can talk a lot. I don't want to be negative. I'm so hardcore Gandhian. It is not like self-assessment. Yes, talking and emotional talking, emotional planning. That's we are very good. But the practical thing is somewhat lagging. But I'm carefully telling lagging, and we are not happening like that. But at least a time has to come. Thanks to the Prime Minister, there is a drive. This Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, particularly with the institutions like Sairam institution, with engineering college, I used to wonder, with the basic engineering qualification, with the basic research background, and in a village, we are able to demonstrate a lot. But the children of vibrant knowledge and age and energy and background of very brilliant teachers and intellectuals, the institutions who are adopting the villages around you, we can do wonders. But thing is, what kind of thing, what is the way that may be the need of the hour? For that, our initiatives could be a small help. People can just come and see this and get an idea, or anything beyond that, we are open. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for a great, insightful session, sir. It was really amazing to hear a very great story from your end, sir. I mean, like, it's really a phenomenal model, sir, and we would love to visit your model soon, sir. Thanks for your great, inspiring session, sir. Thanks a lot for your time, sir. So, participants, like, if you have any queries or questions, you may write up in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. We would love to unmute, and you can speak directly to the speaker. I hope there are no questions. So, thank you, sir. Thanks for your time. It was really an inspiring session, sir. Thanks a lot for your presence, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. The beautiful journey of today can only begin with what we learn to let go of yesterday. It's all about the journey, not the outcome. This is your journey, your body, your mind, and your spirit. Dig deep, own it, and start doing things for you.
Good. It's done. Okay. Amma.
So this is the journey of UBA Sairam. So now we have come to the end of the workshop. Being thankful and expressing your gratitude is an important part of being happy in life. We must find time to stop and thank those people who make a difference in our lives. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ram Kumar, UBA member, and student of Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering of Sri Sairam Engineering College to propose the vote of thanks.
No duty is more urgent than returning thanks. Good afternoon to one and all gathered over here. It's my immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks to all the dignitaries gathered in this inspiring December Eve. First, I would like to convey my earnest thanks to our Honorable Chairman, CEO, Sri Sai Prakash Liyamurthy sir, for making this event grand success. My heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Next, I would like to share my deep sense of appreciation and thanks to our patron, Dr. K. Purkumaran sir, Principal, Sri Sairam Engineering College, and Dr. K. Palanikumar, Principal, Sairam Institute of Technology. Thanks for your support and guidance, sir. Now, I am extremely delighted to thank the epic heroes of this wonderful event who have ignited an inspiration of positive transformation among the young generation for a meaningful tomorrow. I thank A.R. Surinder Baga, Principal Architect at Sakar Foundation, Professor Dr. S.T. Sivakumar, Coordinator, Rehabilitation Council of India, Unat Bharat Abhiyan, TNAU, Mr. Rangasamy Ilango, former Panchayat President, Kutambakam Village, Tiruvallur, Professor Dr. B.S. Murthy, Coordinator, Regional Coordinating Institute, Unat Bharat Abhiyan, IIT Madras. Once again, thank you, sir. Once again, I thank all the guest speakers for decorating this event with all your knowledge and wisdom. Thank you, sir. Next, I like to extend my warm greetings and sincere thanks to our coordinating mastermind, Dr. S.K. Uma Maheshwaran, sir. Also, I would like to convey my greetings to Mr. Muralidharan, sir, Dr. B. Tanuja, ma'am, and Mr. Miyanathan, sir, who has been the backbone of our event and has been constantly supporting us throughout the event. I also extend a huge appreciation to all the dynamic organizers who have made this a very successful event. Thanks for your support and coordination team. Last but not least, I thank all the distinguished professors, researchers, academicians, cheerful student friends for your patient listening. Hope this session would have provoked a thought of rural development among you. Finally, I thank the management of the Sairam Engineering College for this wonderful opportunity. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you all joining with us on this great day. Hope there would be a great takeaway for you all. So the feedback form of this workshop is being posted in the chat box. So please revert back us your valuable feedbacks. Filling up this feedback would lead to receive an e-certificate from our end. So make sure you fill the feedback and mention your takeaways of this particular session. Thank you all. Let's meet back again in another wonderful workshop from Sairam Institutions. Thank you all.